Hello, my Rocketeers that are there in the metaverse. Oh, we did it, Molly. We got you. You guys are here, like behind the scenes. We are doing our very first Rocket Fuel. Woo! Hold on a second. My volume just went on both things. All right. Now I was hearing myself from all over the place. You see, you are part of this experiment, this wonderful Rocket Fuel Metaverse experiment where you are watching us record a live interview with the Molly Mahoney. All right. So this is how it's going to go, folks. You are free to, we have hearts and thumbs up, which is awesome. All right. You guys are going to watch this interview and hopefully there won't be any flubs because we're just going to do it live. But Molly and I are both performers, so we're going to make the most of it.
We got you. When
in doubt, jazz hands. So we're going to do that. We're recording the official podcast. And then what's super duper awesome is that Molly is going to join us in the metaverse. If you see her avatar right now in the metaverse, don't talk to her. All right. She's here. She's here. She can't. Right. So Molly has had like a crazy week. Crazy.
Literally.
Yeah. I mean,
in all sorts of ways.
Yeah. You're super injured. How are you feeling at the moment?
I'm glad to be here with you.
Yes. Yeah.
It's been a really big week. I've had lots of sparkly boulders, but I'm super stoked to be here with you and we're going to have so much fun.
Oh, I love the sparkly boulders.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And the thing is, you just came off of this amazing, like 3-day workshop that was like 3+ hours each day, like for go high level or high level. Is it just high level or go high level?
It's tricky. It's called high level, but I think because the term high level is like you are a high level host, right? Then gets confusing. So they're like handles on social are all go high level. So that is why, and that's why people get confused. They'll call it GHL because of that. But if the tool is called high level, the domain is go high level. The little acronym is GHL, but it's actually high level.
Blah.
Yeah.
You see. Well, she is like in like Flynn with high level and a pro at it. And anyway, she's been spending a lot of time there. So this is, once again, this is the back end. This is not happening like on the podcast interview itself, but Molly, I've waited a long time to actually meet you. And the fact that we're both performers and geeky, nerdy, like automation people, like I love you already. And I know that we're like, I love you too. Yes. And so this is going to be super duper cool. But I don't want to take up too much more of this time. We're going to go right into the interview, but I want to do a special thank you and shout out to those of you that are in the metaverse that are experimenting with us. So like I said, Molly's going to pop on into the metaverse afterwards and do the social aspect of it. And you actually get to talk to her and meet her and ask her questions about how you've been thinking about integrating AI into your business. Now, by the way, which I didn't do, is I am also streaming this outside of the metaverse. So part of it is to say, dudes, if you are not in the metaverse, where you at? All right. So
get in the stage.
Yes. So I'm actually going to go and share. I didn't plan metaverse.rocketfuel.com. Here, I'm just going to post this right here. All right. If you are watching this on Facebook, on LinkedIn, whatever, if you're available from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern, come and join the interview and then join and meet Molly, because Molly is all over the place and it's rare that you ever get to speak to her face to face. Right, Mal?
It is, because
yeah,
literally, like it's that we are back to back. We are back to back helping when we've got bajillions of clients, bajillions of people. It's awesome. So
yes,
I'm going to be there for a bit and it's going to be really fun.
Yes. So go to metaverse.rocketfuel.com because you can watch this and you can meet Molly. So get there. In the meantime, let's rock and roll. We're going to start our video. We're going to roll our video to start the Rocket Fuel podcast. Are you ready to go, Mal?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Buckle up, excellence junkies, because this podcast is definitely for you. Welcome to Rockafuel. Do you wish that you could surround yourself with people that love to kick ass just like you? Well, come to my party, baby, and meet some of the brightest stars in the entrepreneurial galaxy, because it is my mission to give these entrepreneurs a platform to declare what they are on this planet to accomplish and to show you why they are rocket fuel. Rocketeers, and welcome to an amazing podcast episode. It is a pioneering episode today because we are streaming in the metaverse, in the Rockefuel metaverse. We're talking about AI. How 2024 can you be? How much more? Come on. Right? It was crazy. I literally was like, this might be too much. This might be a little bit too much.
It's never too much. You know that song in The Greatest Showman, like never enough, right? This is like never too much.
Oh, I love it.
Never too much.
Never.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. Okay.
I may actually do that. I'm going to do that as like a real thing.
Yes.
Like never too much instead of never enough.
I love it. I love it. All right. So can you guys tell already this is going to be a very interesting episode, but we are going to be talking about AI, how to integrate it in your business. We're going to kind of roll it back a little bit, which is tough because I love to get deep in. Molly loves to get deep in because Molly Mahoney, she is not only the CEO founder of The Prepared Performer, but she is one of the most sought after experts in AI integration for small business. She has been working in the AI world since 2021, which is like forever, right? When it comes to AI, all right? And so she has been doing this for her business, for her clients. And now finally is her moment, right? This is the moment. Okay, we're going to sing everything. This is ridiculous. Right?
If I wasn't recovering from this crazy, they're calling it the 100-day cough. If I wasn't recovering with this 100-day cough, do you have it too? It's like the stupidest thing ever. But if I wasn't recovering from that, I literally would say, let's just make this an entire sung podcast interview, even though some of you may freak out and run away. But you know.
I know. But we'd have fun. Whatever. Right? Our peeps would love it. But it's finally your time to be able to share this. And it's amazing because you've been a digital marketer for so long. And I'm going to ask you all these questions as part of the podcast. But I want people to kind of understand that here at Rockefuel, our job, our mission is to deliver these experts that are going to be Rockefuel accelerators for your business or for your life. And Molly has done this for so many people. So to be able to be here listening to this episode is the bomb. To be able to meet her in the metaverse, double the bomb, right? And so we're going to go right into it right now. So Molly, give us a little bit of background of all your wonderfulness. I mean, I obviously shared a little bit, but tell us like how you even got into this digital marketing world, because I think it's a very interesting story.
It is.
And then how you got here in like digital AI world.
Okay, so like from the very beginning, how far back you want me to go?
Let's start from the very beginning.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Well, I was going to try and take the song on, but I'm not going to. So I did start as a musical theater performer, funny enough. So I was a professional musical theater performer. That's not the very, very beginning, but after college and all of that, I was a professional musical theater performer. I was touring with the national tour of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, as you do. Toot, sweet. And I was touring with Chitty and the Flying Car and all of that. And I realized I actually had started selling knitting and crocheted things, like everyone's trunk on tour, because we all had these like trunks that we would carry around with us back that we would bring with us on tour. And everyone had like boots and like winter clothes for when we go to cold places, and I just had yarn. My whole trunk was filled with yarn. That's all I had. I was obsessed with knitting and crocheting.
I will knit all of my clothing.
Exactly. Who needs? I'll
my
crochet a bathing
underwear.
suit and I'll knit a sweater. So, but I started selling patterns, and I was like published in Red Heart by Red Heart Yarn, and like in Crocheted a magazine. I had a dog shrug that I made that was the inside back cover. It was very exciting.
Whoa.
And so what I realized was, I've loved being a professional performer, but there's so many other things that I could do. And I was like, I got engaged. I was turning 30. It was like, what am I going to do? So we decided we wanted to have kids. We packed everything up from New York and moved to California. At that point, I launched a company that is the company I have now called The Prepared Performer. And it really was focused on helping performers to have the same type of career that I had. So I taught singing lessons. I taught audition coaching. I was teaching dancing at one place. I was still teaching knitting and crocheting at a yarn studio. I ran a Broadway themed open mic night once a month. It was like loads of things that I was doing. And my vocal coaching business really started to take off. So I knew that I was onto something because I could still do all the things that I loved, and I had an online business. So I launched a program, which is like a good thing. Did you know that's possible?
Is it possible? Yeah. No, so I also want, I don't think that you know this, but because I also performed, I have a lot of folks that follow me that are performers. And so
amazing.
So my heart is kind of like, whoa, fluttering for all those of you that are listening to this, that you may just follow Wanda because, oh, I remember her from performance days. But like Molly gets you, and look at the journey that Molly has taken. So continue, please.
Thank you. So at this point, I was like, oh, this is going to be really good for other performers. And so I launched a program called Prepared Performer Profits. And this was how to take your passions and the things that you love and build an online business, not like a side hustle, but something that could actually generate revenue so that you could focus on the things that maybe weren't generating as much revenue yet, just the things that you loved. But I made a really big mistake when I did this. So the first version of it, this was not the mistake part, but the first version of it was a beta like pilot. So I had 15 people who went through the pilot. It was 6 modules. It was awesome. They had great results. It was awesome. I thought, okay, I did this little pilot. I validated it. Now I'm going to go full force. I pre-recorded all these new videos. I did all these Facebook ads. And the tagline for this was the cure for the starving artist syndrome. Which I thought seemed great. Therein lies the mistake. So by the time we were done with this big old launch, this was right when Hamilton had come out, because I was actually in New York I got to see the original cast in Hamilton. Thanks to my friend Amber. I know. I still can't even believe that happened. She had like corporate tickets to it. So a group of friends from high school all went to this thing. So thank you, Amber, for those tickets. But I remember while we were in New York seeing Hamilton, like peak of my life, my whole launch tanked. Like horrible. Guess how many sales we had? Do you know?
I don't know. 1, 2,
0.
No!
Which was better than if we had had 2. No, if we had had 2, it would have been horrible, because then I would have had to actually deliver the dang thing. But at least I could like turn it off. Turn it off. So then I'm just going to put in musical phrases every single thing that we're doing.
I know.
Okay. So at that point, I was like, something has to change. And what I realized was, in my tagline, if I'm saying the cure for the starving artist syndrome, right? I am calling people starving artists. People who identify as starving artists are not really going to see the benefit in investing in a program. So it wasn't, and I told this story once at an event I was speaking at in Portland, and this woman came up to me afterwards, and she was fully crying and very mad at me because I used the term starving artist. And I was like, no, girlfriend, like, this is my point, is that
I'm curing it. Like,
yeah. But also like my point with this is that I shouldn't even use that term. I'm saying that like, as artists, we create so much magic and we deserve to be paid handsomely. And so my point is that I should never have put that in my tagline.
Right.
And she was like, I don't care. You're a horrible person. And I can't believe she was like, I've never had anyone be more mad at me. And I was like, I'm on your side. I don't understand.
I know. I meant well. Oh, cradola.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So that didn't work.
Right. So what did I do?
Yeah.
Dun,
dun, dun.
Exactly. So what I did was I made and this is a really good tip for anybody who's in that kind of a place where you're like, oh, what do I do? Should I stay or should I go? You're going to make a list. This is dangerous.
It's totally dangerous.
You're going to make a list
Dangerous. Oh, sorry. I'm like,
of all of the things that you potentially could do. Like, what are the things that you could offer? What are the benefits you provide? Then you're going to make a list of all of the things that, all of the places where there are people that you're connected to. So look at the things that you've been paid for in the past, look at the skill sets that you have, and then make a list of all the things, of all the places where you know people that may want to buy this. So I actually almost pivoted into municipalities.
very sexy. Clearly.
I had run a confidence program because one of my dance students, her mom worked for the city of La Habra's recreation department. And she had me come in and run a confidence training that she paid me for the recreation department's youth staff to help them connect with the community at like their Easter egg drop or whatever it was, right? Random. It was the same things, honestly, the same stuff I teach now, not as sales focused, obviously, but I could have pivoted into that area. But instead, I did one more list. The other list that I created was what is happening now in the world. This is like a why now belief. What's happening now in the world that we could base things on, that we could say like, okay, what's happening now that would make people go, oh my gosh, yes, I need to buy that. At the time, Facebook Live had just come out. So this was 2016. Facebook Live had just come out. And even though people had been using Periscope, the people who were on Facebook had no clue how to do live video. So I did the coolest thing ever. Instead of teaching performers how to have a business, I started teaching business owners how to perform.
Yes.
And that was where this little magic happened. I launched a program called Camera Confidence. I charged $47 for lifetime access. And I literally just reached out to my friends and I was like, hey, I'm trying this thing. Would you want, to learn this thing? I've got whatever. Would you want this? People, I had like, I don't know, a bunch of people paid $47. I made a couple $1,000s. It worked super well. So the next month I raised the price to $97 and I didn't even have a course platform. I had a Facebook group and I taught live inside this Facebook group for 30 days. I went live every day for 30 days, teaching little bite-sized things. And then I organized it inside the photo albums inside the Facebook group. They didn't even have like guides back then.
Wow. You see, guys, make it work.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So it was good. And then by the time we got through 3 months, I had offered a high-level ticket on the back end, high-level program on the back end. And we did $50,000 within 90 days.
Wow. Goodbye, starving artist.
Exactly.
Yes.
It was really cool.
So it's very interesting. Now, from a technical perspective, because I have watched you and you're definitely technophilic, right? You like it. Okay. I'm also a scientist. So
yes. Okay. Exactly.
Okay? So, I used my PharmD background. I'm very technophilic, right? Meaning you are you're like attracted to, and you really tend to like just jive with it really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And so was that something that was always with you?
And I think, like I liked school and I liked figuring things out like that. Like I like puzzle solving and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I think really what this did for me is it proved to me what we did by focusing on Facebook Live is this new thing. It proved to me like, okay, if I can find the next new tech thing that people don't understand, if I can make it fun, if I can make it easy to understand,
okay,
I have a one up on other people because I bring a different energy like you do to this world, right? So it's a really great, unique differentiator in the more techie space. And there's a lot of people who don't jive with the tech. So it was this awesome opportunity to help them to bring more of their humanity into the tech. So we did it with Facebook Live.
Yes.
Not only did we launch this awesome program, which that program now is $5,000, by the way. I've updated it over the years. Like, cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that came out of that, and this is maybe not what you wanted from this story, but I think this is really helpful for everybody, is that when you find a technology like that and you find a tool that your clients are going to maybe use, you can make an affiliate relationship. And Be Live, which I don't know if you used Be Live back in the day, but Be Live actually hired me to be their main brand ambassador. So they paid me to be the host of their show. And then they hired me as a marketing consultant as well. So it was a really awesome, cool thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's how you kind of got pulled into the tech space, period.
Yeah, because then I love the team at Be Live so much. And I was working with the developers. And I loved being like, I'll break the thing to show you how to fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that we did it with Be Live. Then we did it with ManyChat. So when Messenger bots came out, we were one of the first companies to really dive in deep with ManyChat and dive in deep with Messenger bots. So we got featured all over the place as one of the best chat bots to talk to because it was funny and it had personality.
Yes.
So that was awesome. And combining live video with the Messenger bots, right?
Yeah.
There's been these like tools that have come out and these marketing possibilities. So when AI came out, it was like, okay, I learned about Jasper back in which was called Jarvis, and then it was called conversion.ai. So if you're using Jasper now, it used to be called conversion.ai. When it first came out, what I do is I go straight to the source. So my friend Jamie, I love her so much. She told me about Jasper. I played with it. I was like, this is so cool. I didn't just like continue playing with it. I reached out to Dave on Facebook, the founder of Jasper, one of the co-founders. And I was like, dude, this is amazing. I want to share it with my people. I became an affiliate. I got really loud about it. And then they ended up having me on their platform teaching about it so if you're a performer and you're here and you have that skill set to be able to speak about a tool.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
And then that's why this week was so crazy because I was doing the same thing with High Level. So it's like, it's been this really, it's gotten me on so many stages. ManyChat hired me at one point to have me speak on their behalf at Digital Marketer, which then I built that relationship with Digital Marketer. It's like, it's really cool.
Yes. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So I hope that you guys have a good sense as to why it's amazing to have Molly here to give you all that perspective. And I'm going to boil down something that's also super important, is because of that background, the theater performer background and such, there is, and I explain this to people, if they're not all performers are like this, but there are performers that desire to connect to an audience. And so they're filled because when they're on stage, they're connecting and they're creating that bridge. Then there are other performers that are receiving and their focus is receiving. So it actually affects how you perform, what perspective you're coming from. And so I always said, as a performer, that's always like, I'm performing to give, then I'm one, aware of my body. What am I doing as a result of like, how is the audience experiencing it? What am I saying and all of that stuff. But there's also, when you're that type of person, you have that desire to translate things for people because you want to be that bridge and that connection. And so you, Molly, are naturally that person that enjoys that bridge. You were probably that type of performer, but you're also that type of person. So that like just internal spark is super valuable in tech because tech is so overwhelming. Okay. So this is why it's, of all of the AI presentations that I have been to, I really appreciated yours the most because it really takes into account where that person is coming from. Is you have that empathy of like where they're coming from, and you're like, I'm going to take you on the journey because this is going to be so good for you. And you're not just talking at them. So with that,
well, and a big part of that also, like, so if you are that type of person, like that's awesome for you, right? If you're not, there's other ways for you to be able to do the same kind of thing. And even though I was a professional performer, and even though, you know, I've obviously learned all these marketing strategies and I've been in so many masterminds and worked with so many coaches and I've taken so many courses and all of that, it's like I have my doctorate in marketing through all of the stuff I've done, you know, all these places. On the communication aspect, like on that side of things, I've also studied NLP. I've worked with different people to help me to be able to communicate more effectively in a way that leads to an actual result. So it's a really cool combination that we have. And now we train our clients on this, bringing in the performance aspect without losing who you are as a human being. And the specific strategic skill set of being able to consistently move people forward toward a result, which is something that I think
Mhm.
is also very unique. And it's not like you can just take, well, okay, so like if you if you take a musical theater performer and you plop them into the role of being like a host or an MC even, it's a very different skill set that you have when you're doing Thoroughly Modern Millie and with a script and choreography, and when you're actually showing up as someone who's communicating with, it's like you're using improv skills, you're using so many
Yes.
different skills. And even though I have years and years of professional experience in that, I've also studied ways to be more powerful at that.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
good.
Oh my gosh, you guys, we're getting even more than AI in this interview, but I think
Well, and
whatever we can learn from each other, and we have hearts going in the
I love it.
metaverse.
Also, I just want to say really quick, like as we're talking about whatever, speaking to the camera and stuff, I am having such an issue internally because I can't get my dang teleprompter to turn on. It's like showing me the ICANN link going, and I keep looking down to see your face. So your face is down here. This is the camera, and I keep trying to pretend like I'm looking in your face, but I want to look at your face. And it's like,
Okay, good.
if we're gonna talk about skill sets, that is driving me bonkers right now, just so you know. So I'm
Yes,
looking at
okay,
this
I
ICANN
understand.
link that like I keep, that's why my arm is up here because I'm trying to turn my teleprompter on and off and it's not connecting, but whatever.
It's okay, you're working it, you're working it.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
okay.
All right,
But if
so
you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm looking at your face.
there you go. I appreciate it. Okay, so now delving into AI. So 2021, you're Jarvising, Jaspering, Ask Jeeving. No, do you remember Ask Jeeves from long, long ago? I don't know if you remember
Oh,
Ask.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Yes, Ask Jeeves, and it was like a search engine. But anyway, but so now when what we're going to give the audience, what you put together is this amazing guide to just how to understand like where can AI help you throughout your entire business. So I'm going to share that in a moment, but um when you weren't teaching this to somebody else, how did you first integrate AI in your businesses?
Yeah. So when we first did it, it was only on the content side. So it was like, honestly, one of the biggest things was like getting AI to write PAS statements, which is like problem, agitate, solve. And we would use that
Mhm.
problem, agitate, solve all over for everything. It's like my favorite framework. So
Mhm.
I would use it for video descriptions, for emails, and for content creation. But this was a really long time ago, right? So, and I really long time ago in terms of the internet. So it was like
Yes.
in 2021.
Yeah.
Since
I know.
since then, what's really been big is we are AIifying our entire business. And so this, and I can show, I don't know if I can screen share at some point, but I can show you some examples of what I mean. And that's really what you're going to get in this guide is opportunities for how you can use AI at a way deeper level than most people. So you're not only using it just to create an email, you're using it to do like everything in your bit, like
Yeah,
literally
like automation and stuff
automation,
like that.
clarity, brainstorming. Like we have since just this morning, my team messaged me a screenshot because we actually have an AI sales and customer service rep that talks like straight up. I can show you some of the screenshots from today. It's straight up AI. We have a team member who's in there all like she works from 9 to 2 Pacific time. So she's in there monitoring it all. You should hear her voice, by the way, because she was my voice student way back in the day. And now she works for us. And her name's Casey Jax, and she has the best voice on the planet.
Hey,
So just so you know.
Casey.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
And so she's in there monitoring it, but the
Mhm.
initial conversation to get people to that next step is all AI generated and
Okay, so
wild.
I'm gonna boil it down so people don't get like too overwhelmed. But I'm also going to make sure to invite people to follow Molly in all the places because there is like we're like literally scraping like right. All right, this is a little bit, but I what's important though is I feel from the outside perspective, right? So immediately, Molly, the folks that are going to follow you and go into your like deep level stuff are people that are already technophilic, right? So they get it,
Okay.
they get the concept or whatever, right? But then there's a vast amount of folks out there that need to learn this, but it's not their jam. So today we're going to do a little bit of a bridge,
Okay, great. I
okay,
love
for
it.
those. All
Yeah.
right. So the bridge is all right. a nice intro is to just check out Chat GPT, right? Go to Chat GPT. Are there other
No,
services that
definitely I would say start with ChatGPT. And I just also one thing that we didn't really clarify, so I just want to make sure I say this, is that
Mhm.
the real thing that I think makes what we are doing different with AI is that we're not using AI to just completely replace human beings. And when I do a presentation like with slides, one of the big things that I talk about is that there's actually a big problem what's happening in the world right now where people are using AI without taking the time to really season it to understand who you
Yeah,
are as a human being before you start. And they're creating zombie content that is like the most boring, horrible content ever. We're not doing
yes,
that. We're making this really unique and we're accentuating the human. So it's not
yes.
to replace humans, it's actually to elevate humans and to deepen those relationships, just to be
Yeah,
super
let's
clear.
see hearts and likes in the metaverse if you agree with that, because I feel like it's very interesting. I actually said this to one of my colleagues, actually a an amazing executive coach, Nettie Owens, who you
Oh,
probably
I love her.
know.
She is in our sales
Yes.
stars program. She is
Yes.
amazing.
All right. So Nettie Owens, love her, love her. And I remember her talking about, oh, well, how about talking about AI a little bit more and stuff? We were just brainstorming, and I'm like, AI. I'm like, I'm so tired. I was already tired of it, and I turned into like grouchy old lady. But because I felt like there were a lot of folks that were like tagging AI to whatever the heck they did and be like, hey, let's talk about AI in this. They didn't
Yeah,
really understand. And so it was my reaction. It wasn't my reaction to like, I realized that it sounded like I was like, wow, AI isn't like, that's not the thing. Of course, it was the thing, but I was getting frustrated with just anybody tacking AI into their program because it takes a lot of nuance to understand and actually to use it appropriately. Like when I started doing texting, 13, 14 years ago, and it's like, well, if people don't use it right, they're going to ruin it for everybody.
oh, it's the same. Okay, so first of all, definitely quote me on this. Marketers ruin everything.
Everything.
So definitely.
Right, because it's like the salivating happens and then they just go all in. And if you don't have people that are actually thinking about the future, like what this means to the industry, and this is why AI in general, there's that fear factor around it, because you have folks that are going all in, like, take your shirt off, I'm gonna go, and then they're gonna freaking ruin it. But
Totally.
you are not one of the ruiners.
No, thank you.
But it's important. So when you're thinking about content development, you were saying that there's a nuance to that to make sure that you're not just having a machine talk to you. Like you want it to retain your humanity.
Yeah, totally. So it's really, really, really important. And then I know, like, so when what you were just starting to say before I cut you off is that like to go into ChatGPT and just play with it. And people are like, well, what do I say? Imagine that you're bringing on a new team member. So if look at your whole business and your whole life, because I mean, our kids go to a French immersion school. My husband and I do not speak French. They go to this really magical, weird Hogwarts school. And we created a GPT inside Chappy inside Chat GPT. We created something that is a French tutor. So it's not only in your business, like look at the places where you would, and we also have a human French tutor that they meet with once a week, but to help them practice every day, they can use this French tutor. And so if you look at like where would you want to hire a new team member or where would you want to bring in an assistant for a team member you already have to help your current team member to be more effective, and
Mm,
then give it the instructions like, hey, you are like, act like this type of person. Are you okay to proceed? And treat it like a regular person. So if you know that you want to bring in um, a marketing assistant, say, act like a high level marketer, right? And then you can
yes.
give it a voice. You can give it all these different things. You give it context, all these different things. You give it an objective. We have like this perfect prompt creator that we use. And you're going to give it a voice. Tell it who it is. It's like it's a little acronym. The acronym
Um,
is voice. So
oh,
you're going to give it a voice, which is tell it who it is. You're going to give it an objective. Like, what is the point of what we're doing here today? This is something that would be really good to give to your team also when you start a meeting. Like, it's the same way you talk to a human. Give it insights on who it's speaking to. So that's the I. Like, who is the audience? What is like, different things like that. Who, like, what is actually happening? What's the tone? All that kind of stuff. Then you're going to move it forward through the whole thing. You're going to give it some sort of context. And this context is going to be, how do you want it to, like, what's the architecture of how it's going to respond? So
Yes.
will it be in a table? Will it be in an email? Will it be in a
Mm.
blog? Will it be a list? Will it be a mind map? Do you want it to act like it's having a conversation? Like, give it that context for the style. And then finally, give it an example. So you give it an example, and now it knows kind of what you want it to do. And you've seasoned it in a way, we call it seasoning your AI assistant. You're now ready to like start on a good path to move forward. But if you just plop junk in there, like write me an email about yada yada, and you don't give it any context or objective or whatever, it's not going to do a good job.
Yes, yes. So when you guys, and tell me if I'm correct here. So
Okay.
when you log into Chat GPT, you're basically going to start a conversation, a chat, right? And
Yes.
you'll see them all on the left-hand side. Like every time you start a new conversation, you could plus start a new conversation. That is a GPT, right? That conversation?
No, actually,
No.
so that conversation is a conversation. The
Okay.
GPTs are actually a newer thing that
Okay.
is a specific, like when you start that conversation, everything in that conversation will be seasoned above it. Like it's got all that information.
Yes.
When you start a new conversation, it starts over again. So it starts from scratch. What you can actually
Mm.
do is create your own little mini version of ChatGPT. So you have to have a paid account. It's only $20 a month. I suggest that everyone gets a paid account. I don't have an
just
affiliate
got
link.
it. I
Oh, you
just
did?
got it. Yeah.
Okay. And do you want to screen share this on your side? Because I can actually show you what to
Oh.
actually do. Would that be helpful?
Ooh. Oh, you know why? I don't want, I want to talk through it only because it's the
It's on the
podcast.
podcast.
And yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna,
Sometimes what we'll do is we'll say, if you're listening on the podcast, come find us on YouTube or wherever we repurpose
yes.
this.
Okay. Okay. I like
And I
that
know
too.
it's because this way, if you're listening on the podcast, we'll talk through it just in case you can't actually see it. But
Okay.
if you come with us over, like, go grab YouTube and find, we're at minute 30 or something, right? Go
Yes.
find this moment because we're at minute 37 if you're listening, because I do think it'll be helpful to
Okay.
hear it
Perfect.
and see it, and then you can get in and actually like feel it.
And I'm going to find it while you're talking through it.
Okay,
Okay.
great. So when you're logged in on the left-hand side, what you're going to do is you're going to go to, there's a little, like, it's little boxes on the left-hand side that says explore. And when you go there, you'll be able to explore other GPTs that other people have created. So they're actually little seasoned chats that start with a little head start. I've created many. You can make them public for other people to be able to see, or you can create them internally in your business. And
Okay.
so,
I just realized this doesn't work with our little
the
layout
frame.
here.
Oh, true.
Oh,
Okay, never mind. I'm trying to make things too complicated here.
No, it's
Sorry.
okay. I was all excited about it.
Sorry, because we got the frame. It's okay. Unless, like, I don't think I'm set up right now with my hand that I couldn't change out my camera with my screen.
So
That'd be cool.
actually, what I want to do is go back to, if you don't have a paid account, right?
Okay.
What you can actually do. So when an important thing that you had mentioned though is when you have that conversation, that it's that conversation is like you met a person, and even though they may be the most brilliant person because they have access to all the internets, right?
Yep.
Right. But you need to kind of give them a little context of who
Well,
you
but
are.
let's be really clear. All the internets is a hot mess.
Yeah,
So
because some of
more
the
is not
internets is
like
not.
more. I like to say more is more. Like,
Yeah, because it's
know,
not all right. It's not all correct.
yeah.
So, so when you start one of those conversations, if you start giving it information about your business, pull information from your website, because it can't read your website
No,
in
it
the
can
free
read
version.
well, the free version, you're right. The
Free
free
version
version
you
can.
can't, right? So
Yeah.
assuming you have free version, it can't read your website, but you can copy stuff from your website. All that stuff you could, take stuff from PDFs that you have, and that's called seasoning it, right? Because it's giving all this information about.
Yes, exactly. And
Okay.
so this is where what we actually do is we have a whole training on how to AIify your brand. And so it
Mhm.
forces you to get your brand clarity in place so that we can move forward from there. Um,
Yes.
so you're going to take that time and give yourself the time to actually do that, because otherwise you're not going to get the proper information out of it.
Yeah, yeah. So I highly recommend that's like a separate thing, but it's literally one very up it's a pretty focused load of like just saying I'm going to season my AI, right?
Yep.
I'm going to give it all this information, but once you do it, then it's like magic because now you have somebody, right, that knows all the things that you know. And by the way, you could keep telling it things. You could give it videos if you have the paid version. I keep on saying you could give it videos that you've done and all this stuff. Now it knows you, and then now you can ask it these key questions, which are the prompts, right? So when people talk about prompts, it's basically the questions and commands that you're giving to Chat GPT.
So now
Right?
you've onboarded your new team member and now you're going to assign them with tasks. And that's what these
Yes.
prompts are.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So that I and I'm glad that you said that because I feel like of anything, guys, if you're like, "Oh, I don't know about automation and doing all these things and then having my own sales bot and blah, 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 blah," right? Just use it to tap into not only the brilliance that's out there, and I see a lot of hearts when I was saying that, right? Okay. So this is good because it's feedback of what people are feeling, because that's a whole other level of folks that are like, oh my gosh, like where do I start? Just doing the AIify your brand exercise is amazing because then you've seasoned your assistant.
Totally. And
Then you
and
learn the questions.
and yeah, and then you learn how to go to the next step and you can use it effectively in all different directions. And like if you're wanting to brainstorm, if you're wanting to, let's say here's another thing that I do all the time that I love. So like this morning at 7 a.m. I had a coaching call with my coach because I think all of us should be working with some sort of mentor or coach. And
Yes.
at the end of the call, I take the transcript, I put it into AI, and I'm like, what's my action steps? And it
Yes.
pulls everything and just gives me the action steps, which let me tell you, having my arm in a cast, I've been so grateful that I don't have to take notes because I can't.
Yeah, yeah, and I use AI. The AI with Zoom is amazing because
Yep.
it summarizes my meeting and then it says, "Okay, this is what you said you would do. This is what so and so said they would do." And typically, either I would have a team member that's joining me that's taking notes to do the thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So much more effective. And for anybody who is afraid that it might replace them, it just allows you to work on a higher level, because in
Yep.
most cases humans will ultimately get bored of doing mundane activities, right? Doesn't matter who on your sometimes there are people on your team that like to do repetitive things, but after a while they start zoning out and there becomes errors and stuff. So there's a lot of like ickiness around doing that. And you could really optimize somebody's brain, your team members, by using AI to just boost them,
So
right?
people will say it's like the modern day calculator, right?
Yeah,
It's like
right.
we used to use a not a
Abacus.
mandala, an abacus, exactly, a mandala. I was thinking like what's that game, Manicala? Like no, we used to use like an abacus,
Right.
right? But now we used to use our fingers back in the day, and then we used our toes, and now we use
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of like a modern day calculator. The other thing is I taught at a performing arts high school for a year. I taught a social media marketing class to 10th graders at the Orange County High School of the Arts.
Uh-huh.
And I introduced them to AI even before ChatGPT came out. So they got a little of a head start, which was pretty cool. They said that they had learned in their history class that when cars first came out, there were a lot of people who had the job of being the poop picker upper. Because when there were trolleys, or not even before, whatever, when they were like
Yeah.
horse and buggies,
Listen,
right?
yeah.
When like it was all about the Surrey with the fringe on top, someone had to clean the streets because of all the horses. And when cars came out, there was a big deal because all of those poop picker uppers were going to lose their job.
I want
Well,
to be a poop picker upper. Right.
I know. Well, guess what? We all get to accelerate our skill sets so that we can have higher level jobs because now we have this help.
Yes. Yes. And I hope that I hope that makes you feel better, Rocketeers. Like as you're listening to this, if
The
you
Rock who?
Rocketeers.
Does anyone say that? Do you know
Oh,
what
the
I'm
Rocket.
quoting?
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're totally nerding out. Anyway,
Wait, I'm sorry. Has no one else ever said that to you before?
no, nobody.
Okay. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Because The Rocketeer is
Fair.
such a good movie, but there's that moment in it when she says, "The Rock who?"
We have laughs in the metaverse. And by the way, I keep on talking about the metaverse. I realized that I shared this before. I didn't share it on the podcast. Guys, if you want to listen to other live interviews in the metaverse, join us at metaverse.rocketfuel.com. And there you can actually hear these interviews live and meet and greet the guests. All right. So I just popped that in here. But what I did want to share is this wonderful guide that you put together. Yeah, because everybody knows that on the Rocket Fuel podcast, I ask all of our guests. This is the extra accelerator because we want to give you the education, but inspire you into action. Otherwise, this was like, oh, that was a cool interview, whatever. No, acceleration is when you actually take action upon your inspiration, right? So here is this guide that Molly put together and she's gifting us. All you need to do is text AI-guide, all together, no spaces, to 1-909-741-1321. That works across the globe. If you are outside of the US, guess what? You can use that within WhatsApp. It's powered by catchwords.com, right? But let's go back to what you're going to get. When you text AI-guide to that number, 1-909-741-1321, you will receive Molly's AIFI Your Business Guide. And what I love about this is she gave this wonderful range of all the things. And she even said you can become the AI expert officer of your business, right? So whether this is your business or you're working for somebody and you're like, look, I'm in marketing and I want to get more into this AI thing, text for this guide because it's going to give you that perspective of all the ways. And I'm sure, actually, Molly, you could continue adding things as you guys discover more and more.
And what's really important about this guide is that it's not actually going to be super techy. This is more about opening your mind to the possibility of where you could add in I love the word accelerate as well. So where you can add in an accelerator into your business.
Yes.
So it's really cool because it doesn't get too it goes way, it's really okay, let's look at the human being side of this and how we could weave this into what we're already doing. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful. And if you're in that stage of I don't know, or I'm not there yet, I'm a solopreneur, even more of a reason to learn about AI because you need to focus on delivering your brilliance. And anywhere else that you could get support to do the things, do the tasks to keep things running is absolutely critical. Okay. So text AI-guide to that number, works on WhatsApp, works on text. If you've texted a catchword before, you don't have to provide your email address because you're already in the system. So bop, bop, bop.
Because catchword is awesome.
Yes, right. So it's instantaneous, and with that you get information on. There's actually another extra button, so it's going to be attached, but there's an extra button that I still want you to click on and register directly with Molly because she's going to provide you with a video that supports that and all that extra stuff. I'm telling you, you want to be in the Mollyverse. Okay, we're going to talk about. We'll talk about that later, Molly. That was my little brain baby there. But it's beautiful that you put that together, and thank you so much because I know that we could talk forever and ever. We're going to continue the conversation, but I just want to make sure that folks grab that resource. Okay, so we talked about Chat GPT as the starting point, and then what's the next thing? So now it's I have all of this wonderful content and such that I could, or at least I know how to use Chat GPT. What would be the next thing that you think somebody should consider in looking at AI?
Okay. So you've got to decide where you're going to even focus on in your business. Are you wanting to use it for content? Are you wanting to use it for sales? Are you wanting to use it for your operations? Where do you want to start? For the purpose of this, do you want to talk about that anymore?
Oh gosh, I wonder if I could ask in the metaverse. People are like, oh my gosh, the energy of the two of you guys is like, right. But yeah, guys, since you are here listening in the metaverse, I'm going to continue the conversation, but let us know, like, where were you thinking? Do you want to learn more about it, about AI for content, for sales, for operations? So I'm going to wait for that response there. My thought is I see a lot of folks looking at it for content because they struggle with social media. So if I were to like get my 8 ball, I would say a lot of folks are probably thinking about content for social media, for their blogs, for their websites, etc., for their YouTube channels, for the scripts for their podcasts, or whatever. So that might be like a hot thing there. From my perspective, and I may be in a different place, I'm thinking more about sales and operations, right? But that's because my background is marketing, and I feel like, yeah, I get it. And honestly, even with a background in marketing, I love the fact that I can start all of my content there in Chat GPT and then start refining it. Like I pull it out, I put my own voice to it, and I was like, well, I kind of prefer this better. And then I put it back and I share it, right? Is that the right thing to do?
Yeah, totally. So we call it zhuzhing. So you want to make sure that
Zhuzhing.
you zhuzh. I love
Yeah.
it.
Excellent. So I'm also seeing content. So
Okay.
let's
So
go for content.
usually what we start with is content because it's something that is a little easier to understand and kind of, it's a great foundation for us to learn what I like to say. It's for us to learn the choreography. So a lot of this
Yeah.
is like copy and paste, kind of doing the things. And so it's getting that choreography down so that you can do this in different areas of your business as well.
Mhm.
So the first thing that we start with when we're creating content is we do that whole AIFI thing about the brand, and we really use AI to help us get clear about our ideal client avatar. And
Mhm.
I'm really big about the fact that we want to start with an actual human being. So the first exercise that you would do is pick that one person that you want to attract to your brand, whether it's as a client, as a community member, as a fan, if you're like a musician, or as a partner who's going to share your stuff, or as someone who's like going to cast you in a show, or as someone who's going to put you on their stage. Like, who is the person that you want to attract?
Mhm.
And write their actual name down. And if you don't know how to do
Mhm.
that, that's your first thing to figure out. Forget about the AI, just figure that out.
And the thing is, Molly, so many people are like, yeah, the avatar thing. Blah, blah, blah. It's so important. It's so, and the thing is, what I like is if you're seasoning your chat, your GPT, right? Or that conversation, then it's going to remember that, right? It's going to remember that versus, unfortunately, we forget it. We do all this work. I can't say, and I'm sure you've experienced this, Molly, so many clients where you work on all that stuff, the avatar, whatever, and then all of a sudden content comes out and like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It's because naturally, like, it's hard for us to remember, like, oh, okay, this is the culmination of all our work. We should be doing everything based on this summary, this avatar,
Yeah, so
etc.
that's like what we actually use this to create is even before AI, we have in our higher so I have 2 coaching programs. One is called Social Sales Stars, which is what Nettie's in, which is awesome. And then I have one that is called Glam, that's our mastermind, and it's called Go Live and Monetize. And
Ooh,
let me just tell you, it was called Go Live and Profit back in the day, but
clap.
then I realized that exactly. So I wrote the acronym out and I was like GLAP. Ooh, but I just went with it. And then I realized someone else already had Go Live and Profit, and I was super bummed until I was forced to
Yeah.
change the name to Go Live and Monetize, and I wrote out GLAM.
Uh-uh.
Oh my
Ah!
gosh. I'm so
That's
excited.
the universe was like, "Da, da,
I
da."
know, exactly.
Oh
So
my goodness. Okay.
totally. Yeah.
So, I think both of us just went, what just happened? Um, okay.
And
So we're
what happens from there is we're going to get clear on those people. And I like to pick 3 different avatars and different niches.
oh,
So it's going to be like 3 different specific niches. This could be for power partners, stage, whatever. And then we're going to take that information. And the next step is you're going to create the most powerful thing in your business. Now I just realized I left an open loop a second ago and I never finished what I was saying.
Oh,
So let me
okay.
go back one second. What I was saying is that by creating this document, it's really important. And even before AI, we used to create this, we still do it. We create this document inside Glam where they specifically create all of the information about their business internally. We call it your tree. We call it your content to clients document. So it's like your business Bible. This becomes your business Bible. And so with
Yes.
that, what we do is we take that information and we put that into the AI. We're now using AI to create that information as well, which speeds up the
Which
process and
is
makes it even more juicy, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like in the agency world, because I used to work for the pharmaceutical industry, we worked with agencies, and it was always like the creative brief, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's like the agency was like, well, we can't do anything unless we have these things filled out, right? So the agency would interview us, and then we give them the information,
Exactly. And
and
that's
then
the thing as an agency owner that no client ever wants to do. And it's like the most annoying thing on the planet because they don't actually do it. But now because of AI, it's like forcing people to do it, which I think is so amazing.
yes, yes, it's awesome, awesome, awesome stuff.
So
So
awesome.
that is super duper important to complete that whole process. So if we were to rewind, the first thing is just get those chat GPT fingers like all moving and loosey goosey, right? And practice and such. And then you're going to say, all right, I'm going to commit after I have all these wacko conversations about different things or whatever. I'm going to commit one of these conversations is totally going to be seasoned with everything about my brand, because in that conversation is where I'm going to ultimately ask for content for my social media and content for my videos and all that stuff. But before you go there, and I know it's so hard, guys, because it's like, you want to do the exciting stuff and that feels like the prep stuff, but it goes way faster. Well, one, it goes way faster with an expert like Molly, right? It's true. It's true. This is the whole concept of rocket fuel, right? You could figure it out yourself, but now I'm introducing you to somebody who actually understands where you're coming from and saying, okay, just ask these questions. You answer these questions, upload it to the thing. Voila. Now it's seasoned. Now you can start asking it to create social content and other things. Okay. So I'm sorry, but I know that some folks might be like, oh, I just want to ask it to create a 30 days of posts. But then
And you
what's
can do that. It's just not going to be good.
exactly, you're going to look at it and be like, oh, I have to rewrite this chat GPT
It's
stuff.
going to
And
take you way longer in the long run when you realize how much longer it's taking you.
yeah, yeah. Cause
Yeah.
you are feeding this brain and then it's there. Unlike if you've managed teams, right? Where you spend a lot of time training on the stuff and training on the stuff and training on the stuff. And we're all humans and we forget the things, or we forget to look at the guide that you created or whatever, right? The chat GPT is not going to forget most of it. Sometimes I find that all of a sudden it's some wacko thing. I'm like, I didn't tell you that. But,
Well, so, and that's actually, they call that hallucinating. So they say that
ooh,
just like people get confused and get their, we got our own information that we're inundated with. Remember that AI has the whole internet that it's inundated with. How do I say it
yeah.
that way? So if sometimes, like one time I was using a chat and we host pretend cruises in my backyard. Did you know this?
No.
Oh my gosh. So we have our next one is coming up on February 29th. And what happens is people come to my backyard. Our backyard is very tropical. We do an implementation exercise at that cruise. So they go on a fake cruise in my backyard. Everything is like tropical themed. And then they get to sit there and create things, because I think we are really in a problem right now. We are like facing a very big problem, which is information overload and the
Yes.
lack of implementation. So we've started taking people on cruises in my backyard to help them implement.
You don't even understand like the trouble that you just got yourself in, because
Oh
I'm
my
gonna be
gosh.
like, honey, I think we need to create a spa retreat in our house, and then we will bring people to the spa retreat. Yes.
That is the point. So also, just on that note, with
To
our glam
implement.
members, we take them to Disneyland twice a year. So we like the
Nice.
things that I love. I love going on cruises and I love going to Disneyland. So we put those in our programs. So
Yes.
it's
Okay.
okay. So I was writing copy for one of our pretend cruises and I said, hey, write like a pirate, like write this email like a pirate. And I could not get it to stop writing like a pirate. So it just kept saying like, all right, land lubbers. And I was like, no. So I had to start a new chat. So if it starts to hallucinate, just start a new chat. It's good.
Yeah, so that's
Wild.
kind of that's something to, that's an advanced problem.
It
when you
is.
get
It
stuck
is. The
with
landlubbers are
the
going to take
pirate
over.
the pirate GPT. Oh my goodness. So what I'm going to do is at that I'm going to stop this discussion right here because there's
Okay.
so much more. And it's the reason why I'm doing this is because the one thing that I want you to do, Rocketeer, if you're at this point and you're like, okay, AI has been interesting, Wacky Wanda and Marvelous Molly, like, okay, you've convinced me to like that I can do this because you totally can. Okay.
1,000,000,000%.
Totally. But the other thing is that you need to take it step by step and don't let things like overwhelm you like I have to do all the things. Don't do that. Start with the Chat GPT and start with becoming familiar with it and then seasoning one of those conversations. Text for the AI guide so that you are aware at least of where AI could fit into your business. You are the CEO of your business. You have to make pointed decisions as to what you're going to do now this quarter, if not the next quarter. It's okay. It's all there waiting for you. Ain't going to go away, right? Text AI-guide to 1-909-741-1321 using text. If you're global outside of the US, you can use WhatsApp. Okay. You're going to get that AIFI guide. Then you can say, okay, when I season my Chat GPT, I'm going to start attacking this thing that Molly recommended. But go into Molly World, right? And make sure that you're there because she's going to teach you these things so that you don't have to waste time figuring it out. And I love that you're always popping up new. You're like, I think I'm going to teach this, that. Are you guys interested in learning that? And you go and you get like, yeah, And so that's you.
And I get this question a lot, actually. Like, how on earth do I stay on top of all of this? You don't have to. I'm going to stay on top of it for you. Like the same way that one is helping you to stay on top of the metaverse, I'm helping you to stay on top of the AI verse. So
Yes.
there you go.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So that's what I would love for you to do, Rocketeers. I want you to take your inspiration into action. Your assignment, your mission here coming from Rocket Fuel Mission Control, right? Right, is to season little Chat GPT, look at the guide, figure out the direction that you want to take within your comfort level, connect to Molly, and Molly will be there for you along the journey at whatever stage you're at. This is approachable. You can do it, but it's a necessity for you to start optimizing your business, becoming more efficient, and being able to differentiate yourself, right? To be able to really differentiate yourself in utilizing the tool to like just how could you say it? It's like distilling out your awesomeness. What is it that you
Oh my
say?
gosh, we didn't even talk about this. So I also have a children's book called Finding My Awesome that goes over our quesadilla of awesome. We didn't get, so you're going to find that later. But we have a system for helping you to identify your unique differentiator. If you're watching this and you're like, okay, but I'm not a cuckoo like Wanda and Molly are, know that you're okay. Like I'll help you. You are a cuckoo. You are weird. I didn't even say my most important thing, which I'm so glad we're still going because the most important thing is you're weird plus AI is how you create magical content. So don't forget that you've got to figure out what makes you weird as a human before you start doing this because it's going to make things even better.
I love it. With that, adios, my dear Rocketeers. Mwah. I hope you have a rockin' day. Thank you so much, Molly. That was amazing. Yay!
Hooray!
And this is where we would cut the podcast. If my team doesn't know that, boop, 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 boop. We would cut
I always clap when I can't clap anymore, but when you clap loud, it makes a sound spike also, so they can see it. It's like using the thing from the, the whatever. The plate.
Yes, the little.
Yeah.
All right. So all of you guys are here behind the scenes. What I do want to make sure is if you want the opportunity to talk AI with your entrepreneur colleagues and peers and with Molly, then go to metaverse.rocketfuel.com right now. We are going to hop off StreamYard here and we're going to walk on in to the metaverse and chat. What I would like to do is I think we can do this. Molly, when you go on in, you're going to walk over to, there are going to be 3 conversation areas.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to conversation area called strategy. When you walk into the strategy conversation area, it's going to ask you to join everybody else. You do that too. And we could have, because I think we're a small enough amount of people, we can have up to 17 people in that conversation. And then we all get to chat together. So meet you there.
Okay, so before I hop off, I tried to log in earlier and it was just saying loading. So I don't know if I have too many things going on my computer.
I think you have too many things going on your computer.
That never happens to me. So I'm going to shut everything down. And just so you know, I'm going to shut down and then I'm going to go over there. Am I actually explain? Sorry, I've got an Oculus and I like hang out in the metaverse, but am I going to actually be on camera or am I just audio?
No, when you log in, you're not on camera. You can move around, whatever. Once you join the conversation area, then you can choose to be on camera.
Okay, great.
And there'll be a little icon
my other camera so I can like sit and balance my arm on my head. So there we are.
And then also, Molly, just stay on Facebook. So I'll look on Facebook in case
great.
you have to ask
in
me
case
questions.
I get lost in the metaverse.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Amazing. So fun. Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.